Hello and welcome, my name is Miss Nekopon. Today we're going to take a look at the Rearguard spec banners announced for March. If you want to see the Vanguard version of this video, I will leave a link on the top right of the screen here or in the description and comments below. I don't know about you, but I'm completely not ready for this banner at all. I'm so broke of Twilight Crystals and there's so much to think about because we're in a pretty weird position right now in the game. I'll start this video off by talking about each of the weapons objectively and see if they're good, and then after get into some questions to see if you still want to pull or not. Let's start with the overview. These banners are available from March 9th to the 21st. Instead of having one set of banners come out first and then another after, we're gonna have all the banners at the same time. All the new weapons will have a cost of 19. Also, a quick reminder that spec banner items cannot be redeemed with Medal of Desires. Starting with the instrument banner, we have 3 featured SR weapons. 1 of them is new and 2 of them are repeats. Let's start with the new instrument. This is called the Sound of Entwining. It's a 19 cost wind harp and has a total points of 7096. It has the highest total points out of all the harps currently and has the second highest magic attack. The skill here is Hero's Harmony 2 and it increases the P attack and M attack of 2 allies. The Colosseum support is Support Boon 2. This is a very nice and flexible instrument for guilds that have mixed vanguards. I'm always a fan of instruments that can do 2 targets. Definitely a great one to have around. Next is a Demonic Violin. This is an 18 cost harp and has a total points of 6718. It has the 3rd highest total points of any harp, but all the individual stats are actually pretty balanced around rank 10 amongst all the harps. The skill is Sorcerer's Rondo 2, which increases the magic attack of 2 allies. The support skill here is Support Boon 2. In the current magic meta, this Demonic Violin is spectacular, especially with Support Boon 2. Sorcerer's Rondo is technically 10% higher in skill multiplier compared with the Sound of Entwining's Hero's Harmony, so this violin is better for purely M attack teams. Definitely worth getting if your team is focused on magical attack. The last violin is Scaly Violin. This is a 17 cost wind violin with a total points of 6075. It really is just 1 point below Demonic Violin for both M attack and M defense. The skill here is Holy Knight's Gospel 2. It increases 2 allies' physical and magical defense. The Colosseum support skill is Support Boon 2. It's really a great instrument, especially for the cost. 17 is amazing. It's 2 target, 2 stats with Support Boon 2. And even though it has generally lower stats, it doesn't really matter. The low cost and fantastic skills just really make this instrument. Overall, the instrument banner is just spectacular. There's really not much more to say, and that minstrel should definitely be pulling on this one and even limit breaking these violins if they can. Next, let's take a look at the tome banner. We actually have all water tomes this time as an interesting fact. One of the tome is new and the other 2 are repeats. Let's start with the new tome. This one is called Teaching the Forgotten. This is a 19 cost water tome and has a total points of 7080. It would have the number 2 slot for total points right under last month's book. It also ranks 2nd for magical attack. The skill here is Incantation of Debilitation 2, reduces the magic attack of 2 enemies. The support skill here is Support Boon 2. It's really great to see more magic attack books come out, this one especially because it is 2 target and it has really good magic attack stats. This is definitely a solid book. Next is a repeat book. This one is Final Prophecy. This is a cost 18 water book and has a total points of 6710. It is the 5th total points out of all the tomes. All the stats are actually quite balanced here and none of them really stick out. Just as I was saying about how it's great to see more magic attack books from Teaching the Forgotten, Final Prophecy is actually like the opposite. Being a physical defense book, I feel it's not very appealing anymore compared to its initial release, since we're in a magic meta currently and attack is valued way more than defense. We've got more than enough P-Def books recently, and this is just one that doesn't stand out anymore. Still, if your team is based mostly on physical attackers, this would be a good addition to your Colosseum fights. The last book to look at here is Beggars Secret. This is a 17 cost water book and the total points is 5835. It has generally low stats compared to the other 2 books, but it is a 17 cost book. It is the 4th in physical attack out of all books. The skill is Curse of Rust 4, which massively reduces one enemy's P attack, and for the support skill it is Support Boon 2. Beggars Secrets is a very underwhelming book. It's single target, one stat, and it's actually on physical attack. It's one thing to help your own team with a physical defense book, knowing that your team actually has physical attackers, but owning a physical attack book is pretty risky because most guilds nowadays run magic more than they do physical, so this book can just end up collecting dust. All in all, unless you're gonna have a subset with P attack focus, this book is not really useful, and don't invest in it if it ends up on your lap. Overall, the Tome banner is a skip from me as a sorcerer. Even though the new teaching, The Forgotten Book, is good, it's really not as good as last month's book, and I feel it's worth waiting to see what else Spec has in store for us next time. Especially because the other two books, the repeat ones, are pretty underwhelming, and we don't want to waste crystals on getting those on accident. Now, let's take a look at the staff banner. In the staff banner, again, we have one new staff and then two repeat ones that we've seen before. Let's start with looking at Truth and Lies. This is the new staff. It's a cost 19 fire staff and has a total points of 79. It will have the second highest points next to the current highest version of Entrails of Justice. The skill it has is Staff of Assault 2, which restores HP to 2 allies and also slightly increase allies' magical attack. The Colosseum support is Recovery Support 2. Unfortunately here the defense stats are actually pretty darn low, and those are the ones you want for healing, but the skill is looking amazing. The skill multiplier on this actually got buffed for the global version, so this staff overall is pretty amazing. I mean, it's 2 target heal, so it's already great, and on top of that, this also have an M attack buff too, so I think it's actually really nice. The next featured staff here is One's Beloved Staff. This is an 18 cost wind staff with a total points of 6694. While it doesn't have the highest points, it's at number 7 out of all the staffs, this one's actually pretty nice because it's 2 targets. The skill here is Staff of Assault 2, again, and it restores HP to 2 allies and slightly increase allies' M attack. The Colosseum support here, again, is Recovery Support 2. This one doesn't have the updated skill modifier compared to the Truth and Lies version of Staff of Assault 2, but it's still generally a very solid good staff. It's really hard to beat staffs that are 2 targets with Recovery Support 2. The last staff to look at is Scaly Staff. This is an 17 cost wind element staff with a total points of 5846. The skill it has is Blessed Gospel 3 that greatly restores HP to 1 to 2 allies, and the Colosseum support skill is Recovery Support 2. It's really nice that we have a bunch of Recovery Support 2 staffs this time, and even though this staff is only 1 to 2 allies for the main skill, this is a really nice 17 cost Recovery Support 2 staff that can really help boost up your heals just as long as it is in your grid. Overall, I think the staff banners look really solid. All of these staffs could be a great addition to any main cleric grid. Definitely worth rolling on. Now let's take a look at the last banner here, which is for artifacts. As usual, I will only be looking at artifacts from a story perspective as orbs are not typically used for Colosseum. First, let's look at Bubble Crown. This is the new weapon for this banner. This is a 19 cost wind orb with a total points of 79. This is the second highest in points next to the Sorrowful Stuffed Toy. It's generally high points all over. It's 5th in magical attack, 4th in physical defense, and 6th in magical defense. The skill here is Evil Thunder of Onslaught 3, which deals great magical damage to 1 to 2 enemies and slightly reduce enemies' magical attack. Bubble Crown has really nice overall stats and should end up on top of anyone's orb grid. The next artifact is Black Holy Grail. This is an 18 cost water orb with a total points of 6702. It is number 7 in total points. The skill is Evil Hail of Legion 3 that deals great magical damage to 1 to 2 enemies and slightly restore your own HP. Unfortunately, the magic attack is really low, but the physical attack is quite high. This will mostly be a defensive artifact. The last featured orb is Path of Regret. This is an 18 cost water orb and has total points of 6580. The skill is Evil Hail of Protection 3 that deals great magical damage to 1 to 2 enemies, and it slightly increases your own magical defense. The magical defense is really high here on this book with a skill that buffs magical defense, so this is a choice book to bring if you need magical defense against an enemy. Overall, all the story skills on these artifacts have the same damage multiplier, but each one has a different extra effect. No matter which one you end up with, these are all actually very defensive artifacts. Generally, I think it's safe to pull on these purely for more points because all of these are top 20 in total points for artifacts. Now that we've talked about all the banners, let's talk about if you should actually pull. I want to help you decide if you want to pull by asking some questions that were already covered in my last video for Vanguards, so I'll do a summarized version of it this time for this video. These questions should help you think and decide if you should pull, and if you answer yes to one or more of these questions, consider saving up your crystals for a better opportunity, except minstrels, because this is a top tier banner and you should pull away with no regrets. Alright, number 1. Are you interested in the upcoming collab in April? While there's no information on this yet and we don't know what's going to be coming, we're expecting a collab that has already happened in JP, and it's likely that they will buff the weapons and classes for the global version, just based on how they've been handling the releases so far. My prediction is that it's going to be a Yoko Taro IP, so if that's something you're interested in, maybe it's time to start saving. Second question, can your grid realistically use a new 19 cost weapon? Many of us are struggling to even fit all the L weapons we want on our grids. Personally, I have to use 2 S weapons just because I don't have enough cost to hold all of the L weapons. Besides, we're still in the early phases of cost 19 weapons, so it's very possible that much better ones will come out very soon along with more cost plus classes to help with the situation. Question number 3. Will the Spec banner be weak compared to other weapons on your grid if it lacks limit breaks? We're at a point in the game where we might have a few limit broken items. Those with many or luck might have many or only limit broken items. Being that this is a Spec banner, it's very hard to get the actual weapons you want multiple times, so it's a much lower chance of limit breaking. So make sure you set expectations for yourself and ask if the weapon still has a place in your grid if it doesn't have limit breaks. Last question. Do you need to prepare specific weapons for grid swapping? Grid swap is here, and if you're in a guild, make sure you know what your guild needs from you during this transition phase. Grid swap feature is a complete game changer, so it might be a good time to hang back on your rolls until you guys know what you need and start saving up for. Thank you so much for watching. I hope all of this information was helpful to you and your decision making. Good luck to everyone that's rolling. Let me know what you think of the new weapons and if you're rolling this time on the Spec banners. Maybe there's something else you're going to be saving up for instead. Post your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget, the Royal Creator Support campaign is still happening. You have a chance to win 100 Twilight Crystals by filling out the questionnaire. Details are in the link in the description box or pinned comments down below. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe if you've enjoyed your time here with me today, and I'll see you all next time. Bye!